Hello, I'm Melissa Lein, Authement, and my study is the obstacles to implementing a mandated math curriculum in the state of Louisiana. This research design is a case study that seeks to look at successful strategies to implement mandated math curriculum within St. Tammany Parish schools. I hope to identify obstacles that teachers face when implementing a mandated curriculum in order to determine best practices for future implementation of other curriculums. Curriculum in Louisiana is constantly changing, and it seems that the focus is if we implement a new curriculum, a research based curriculum, a curriculum that we've determined is going to improve our test scores, then that's really the only thing that we need to do is just implement a new curriculum. However, our curriculum is constantly changing to the point where teachers are feeling worn out. They're not feeling like they get to see the best results of the previous curriculum. And so I want to find out, are there best practices to implementing these new mandated curriculums, especially if they're going to continue to change? So while consistency would really be the key, I want to see if we can figure out a way to implement any new curriculums that are handed to us. So teachers struggle to use their own styles of teaching while implementing the mandated curriculum. Oftentimes the mandated curriculums are very scripted, and it takes the personality, it takes other teaching theories out of the classroom for the teacher, and the teacher feels very constrained and refined to having to teach a particular curriculum in a particular way. Obstacles to implementing a reform based curriculum include the lack of professional development, the lack of sensitivity to a teacher's culture and professional experiences. So, oftentimes, when you're teaching in the classroom, you bring in lived experiences, you bring in best practices, things that you've tried out and things that you know to work in your classroom. However, with research based curriculum, it often, like I said before, is so scripted or so laid out for a teacher that it's hard to bring oneself into it, creating kind of a lack of desire for the teacher to want to implement this curriculum. It can lead to some resistance, and it can lead to teachers feeling like they're not implementing it correctly, or there's not a best practice to how they can implement it. So I want to look at what implementation strategies will provide the best outcomes for implementing a mandated curriculum, and what are the most prominent obstacles teachers face when implementing a new curriculum. My researcher perspective is I'm a non-traditional teacher. I started as a Teach for America teacher, and so my training was very short, not a lot of teacher theory, so more hands-on experience, learning in the classroom as I went, creating those lived experiences to transform the way that I teach in a classroom. So a lot of my personality, a lot of my experiences are how I teach and how I run my classroom or structure my classroom. So these mandated reform-based curriculums can sometimes present problems for myself. I've been a teacher for 7 years. I have 7 years of classroom experience, both public and private. I've taught a total of 4 years as a math teacher, and I've implemented 3 new mathematics curriculums in those 4 years of teaching math. My framework is based on evidence-based science. So all of the curriculums that we look to implement here in Louisiana have to meet criteria through a tier leveled program. So tier 1 program has to be evidence-based, and it has to meet and it has to have a standard of rigor, and it has to meet this specific rubric that the state of Louisiana has given out for the board members to be able to approve a curriculum to be a tier 1 curriculum, which then becomes mandated curriculum in many of the schools. Evidence-based science then leads to implementation science, and implementation science has been used a lot in the medical field, and it's been used to detail what kind of experiences, obstacles, and structures are in place that may deter or may prohibit implementation of uh, certain methods or programs that a company or a committee or a school board or something along those lines are wanting to implement. So that implementation science looks at what are the obstacles, what are the experiences, what are the positive things that are allowing this research based or evidence based method to be implemented. And then the determinant framework comes specifically from the implementation science. So that is the theoretical framework that really outlines the design, models, and theories. So it's saying what are the determinant factors that allow this curriculum, in my case, to be implemented successfully, and what are the strategies to that implementation based on this determinant framework. The methodology that I'm using is a case study. I will be looking at schools in St. Tammany Parish Public School System. There's a large number of schools that I can look at, and about 13 that fit into the criteria. I'm looking at 4th and 5th grade math teachers. It's a both purposive sampling, and it is based on 4th and 5th grade teachers implementing a mandated Tier 1 curriculum who are at a urgent intervention required school. It's going to start with a structured questionnaire, which will be led to inductive semi-structured interviews. I will be using descriptive coding, and my ethical considerations are making sure that my district approves while also maintaining participant anonymity. Thank you for stopping by my poster, and I hope you have a great day.